everyone. Today we are doing something a little bit different. Today we're doing kind of just a chatty sit-down video about the rest of the year. And I have no idea how it's going to go, but I have a lot of things swirling around in my brain, and I kind of wanted to just sit down and sort them out. And I thought maybe I would record it at the same time. So this is going to be a little bit chatty, but hopefully cozy. Maybe you can put on some soft music and plan some things going on in your life at the same time. So I hope you enjoy. And I'm just setting up something pretty for you to look at while I talk your ear off a little bit about what I want to get done the rest of this year. I know we're not quite halfway through the year. It's May 2nd as I'm recording this, but, I can't even pick up my card. I took a nice pause in April, and that pause kind of felt like a nice halfway mark for me, and took a nice reset. So that's kind of what this video is about. I just want to make a bit of a game plan. So yeah, I'm just going to be a little bit rambly and try and get some of my thoughts down on paper. I'm very visual, as you can probably tell. And yeah, if you're new to my channel, I pretty much do one project a month. That's something that really works well for me and my work-life balance. It really helps me to have one focus every month, and that usually ends up being the one video that I make every month. And that has helped me so much to just put my blinders on and accept that I can only work on one thing at a time. And yeah, the year and a half that I've been on AuthorTube has been my most productive time ever as far as my writing and making progress on the projects that I'm really passionate about. And I think it's because of this 1 month at a time kind of framework. So yeah, I'm just going to be outlining everything as far as what I want to do every month for the rest of 2022. So I'm going to start actually with 2 months at the same time, May and June. So as I said, I am kind of in the pause in between two drafts right now. I just finished my big rewrite, and I'm gearing up to start my next revision of my fantasy novel. It's going to be a big overhaul, and I have a lot to incorporate as far as character and world building and just enriching everything about the book. There's a lot of prep work that I want to do to make sure that I'm really doing the most I possibly can in this one round, and not just dive in without thinking carefully about everything that I have to layer into the book. And the things that I want to do in these 2 months for revision prep are different. I've got a little list over here. So let's start with May. In May, I have doing the reread. Most of all, I've got to reread my last draft and see what the heck I did, and just start to finish reread it. And I'll probably vlog that. I want to write a synopsis of the book as it is right now. So synopsis, current state. And I also have a couple of craft books that I want to read. Craft books I have like a mixed relationship with, but I love reading them in between drafts, because even if the craft book, isn't super applicable, or, I'm not loving it, even still, whenever I read a craft book, I usually get some spark of an idea about how to apply something to my own book, or it just leads me down some thought path that leads me to something new. So even the bad craft books get me thinking about my book. So I've got a couple on my list that I think this would be a good time to hit. So that's kind of like my main priorities for May. And for June, basically my biggest priority here that will probably take a lot of time is outline book 2 / notes on whole series. Because I really need in this next draft to start setting up all of my subplots that are going to carry through the whole series. And in my most recent draft, I set up a lot of subplots and then I dropped them, and I did not conclude anything or really take them in any direction because I just didn't know where I wanted to go with these story arcs. So a lot of open loops that I need to figure out how they're going to close. So I think if I outline book 2, that will really help me layer a lot of things into book 1, and really the whole series. So that's going to take a lot of time. So that's kind of the big project. And then once I've done that, I want to do synopsis version 2. So I'll have a synopsis of the book as it currently stands, and then synopsis, basically how I want the book to read after my next revision, basically where I need it to go, if that makes any sense. So this synopsis will help me figure out what I need to add and where it needs to be added. So July is a camp month, and I still kind of outline my year and my writing game plan around NaNoWriMo events. And I didn't do camp this year in April because I was taking the month off from my book and doing a poetry project. So I'm really excited to get back to it in July, and do another event because I really missed it. And I felt very out of the loop as far as being in the community. I was just taking a little bit of a quiet break. So I'm excited for July. So Camp NaNoWriMo July is going to just be starting my next draft of the fantasy book, implementing all the stuff that I did in the prep project, all of the new world building and character arcs and subplots that aren't in the book right now. And I never know whether I want to call this draft 2 or draft 3, because I did what I call a 0 draft, and then I did a full complete draft. So I'm just going to call it 2, 0, 1, 2. Start rewrite of draft 2. I don't know what I want my camp goal to be. It's gonna get tough because now that I'm further into revising, word counts isn't really a great way to track. Like I really want to track by chapters more than anything else. So that remains to be seen. I'm not sure what my camp goal will be, but that will definitely be another monthly vlog for me. Monthly vlogs are kind of like my bread and butter, and they're what I love doing most. So in July, hopefully that's what I'll be doing. August is going to be pretty much the same. I'm going to be working on draft 2, and if possible, this is a little bit aspirational here, but if possible, I would really love to finish the draft 2 rewrite in 2 months, July and August. And I'm thinking also maybe if I could squeeze in another video in this month. I think it would be fun to do the 5 a.m. writing challenge, just to really help me get to the end in 2 months. I think if I have another video kind of keeping me accountable, I will definitely get that writing time in and maybe write more than I would in a usual month if I'm doing 2 videos. So I'm really, really hoping that I can do the rewrite in a quick amount of time, because my previous rewrite took me quite a long time. I took a lot of months off from it and I took breaks, but it took me a whole year, March 2021 to March 2022. And from here on out, I kind of want my redrafts and my revisions to be compressed, and only be working on them for a certain amount of time and not let it go on and on and on, and really start giving myself some deadlines. So I'm gonna try and do it in 2 months if I can. We'll see if that's completely wild and not attainable, but yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. This is where things get a little bit interesting. And here's where things get a little bit fuzzy. You know, I can say with confidence pretty much what the next 3 months are going to be. Everything else after that is subject to change. We all know that life comes up and can change all the best laid plans, but yeah, the key is flexibility. So from here on out, this is kind of what I'm hoping to do. Hopefully I can end up with something that kind of falls along these lines, but if it were to go exactly to plan, here's what I would want for September. This is terrifying to even write, but maybe SOW, my fantasy novel, will be ready to go to beta reads. Ah! This is horrifying to even think about. But I really want to do a beta read after this draft because I don't want to get too far into the weeds of a really detailed revision and maybe even a line edit revision if some things about the plot really are not right. So even though it doesn't feel good to give a book to betas before it's truly polished, I think it's a better use of your time to give it to betas before you get too far into polishing mode. So yes, so I'm gonna hopefully take the leap and beta read this in September. And so then the question becomes, what am I gonna do when this is out to betas? And I would like to start working on a bit of a secret project. I'm gonna call it Project TTR. If you watched my video about my first lines, then you probably remember what TTR stands for. But it's Project Time Travel Romance. So this is a bit of a side project that has been kind of in the back of my mind for a long time, on the back burner while I've been working on, my main book. And I really wanted to consciously take time off from my novel this year and work on something else and give my brain a break from fantasy and do something contemporary. And I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to try something new and be in a different world for a little while. So yeah, so while the book is with betas, I'm going to start Project TTR outline / maybe just brainstorming. Who knows? Just vaguely getting more familiar with what that story could be, generating ideas. I have no plot in mind. It is no plot, just vibes as of right now. So September could be about maybe nailing down some plot beats for that story and thinking about what the actual story is that I want to tell with Project TTR. Okay, and speaking of Project TTR, that leads us to the most wonderful time of the year, NaNoWriMo. And I really want to do NaNoWriMo this year, but I've learned some lessons about how I can make Nano a good month for me and what I don't want to do during Nano. So for Nano this year, I'm going to be drafting Project TTR. And I've learned that Nano works the best for me and is the most fun and is so amazing when I'm drafting. The times when I've tried to revise projects during November, it doesn't go well and I don't really feel a part of the event. Like I feel like I'm not really doing Nano, and I don't get the same competitive spirit. I don't have the same fear of missing out. I don't have like that drive forcing me to compete. So I think I really need to be drafting during the month of November. So just to be a little strategic, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing Project TTR during this month because I think that would really work best for me. It'd be something fresh and completely different. So we'll just work backwards and do November is going to be NaNoWriMo. And obviously, since it's the classic Nano, it's going to be the 50K challenge. And then obviously in October is Preptober. And I have not done a real Preptober since 2020. I didn't do Preptober last year because I was revising the book. I was in the middle of the book, so I really didn't have anything to prep. I just had to keep going. And that's another reason I think why it didn't really feel like NaNoWriMo. I think doing a true Preptober really helps with the hype factor, and you have to be hyped in order to do NaNoWriMo. You have to create enough hype for yourself to last the whole month of November. So I'm gonna do a true Preptober and do character profiles and really firm up my outline and do Save the Cat maybe, and do some, not world building because it's contemporary, but build the setting out and just do as much prep work as I can before I draft. We'll see what that ends up being when I get closer till, but I'm really interested to see how this month goes because I've never truly started a project completely from scratch, really forcing myself to do a lot of prep work and then do the drafting. I'm very much a pantser, so whenever I've started a project, it's usually I pants for a while until I figure out what I want to do, and then I need to kind of layer in all of the structure and world building after the fact. And so I'm interested to see how I do if I'm a little bit more structured with myself and do a lot of prep work first, take my time, get to know my characters, get to know my setting, and then draft. And I honestly think it's going to be a bit of a game changer because I've always said that NaNoWriMo, the hard part about it is not the writing. For me, it was always the fact that I had to do so much thinking in order to write so much. It's really hard to write 1,600 words a day when you don't know where you're going, what the setting is, how your characters would act. And your generating brain has to do a lot of work, never mind your descriptive brain. So I think this is one way I can make NaNoWriMo a lot easier on myself this year and kind of see if I can create some new good writing habits as far as doing some good prep. Because that's the prep work that I've always kind of skipped out on and maybe half-assed a little bit. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what this NaNoWriMo will bring this year. And then December. I can't believe that would be the end of 2022 already. This year is going by so fast. But as far as December, here's another lesson that I've learned. And that is I always end up taking December off from writing one way or another, even when I don't intend to. It's just that Christmas is like a project in and of itself. And December, I'm usually really burnt out after NaNoWriMo. I have soup brain and I don't want anything to do with writing in December. December, I love reading a lot. Reading and December just like go together for me. I always get books for my family for Christmas, and it just feels like the time that I want to curl up with a huge, chonky fantasy that's going to last me the whole month. I love reading in December. I don't love writing in December. So rather than me accidentally taking the month off every single year, I'm going to intentionally take the month off this year. And read a lot. If I write it all during the month, like if I write a few days here and there, maybe I'll write some more project TTR, maybe I'll have some beta reading feedback to sort through, and I'm sure by the time December rolls around, I'll be thinking about 2023 and already making a game plan for my next 6 months and, you know, what's next for these two projects. So I have a lot of things up my sleeve, a lot of things I want to work on. I have big plans for both of these projects. So I hope you'll stick around and see how this game plan shakes out. I would really love if the rest of the year looked like this, if I could somehow stick to this plan and make these things happen. It's definitely up in the air whether finishing the next rewrite in 2 months is attainable, and the rest of this will obviously depend on that. It all kind of hinges on this. But that really motivates me. I really want to try and compress it, like I said, and challenge myself to meet a deadline. So I think this year is going to be really exciting. I'm so ready to work on a new project and kind of breathe some fresh energy into my writing life and take a break from the fantasy world later on in the fall. So I'm pumped. I'm motivated. I hope this was a nice, cozy chat. So thanks for letting me ramble for a little while. I hope maybe this helped you think about the rest of your year and the projects that you're working on. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if there's a project that you're hoping to complete by the end of the year. I would love to hear about it. But until next time, I'll see you then. Bye!